3 days ago, Apple introduced substantial improvements to the telephoto and selfie cameras for the new iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. How will rival Samsung respond in January when it will launch the S26 series and its crown jewel, the S26 Ultra? Well, for all the talk of which cameras will be updated and which will not, we didn't expect to hear about downgrades. Ice Universe, who has often been critical of Samsung's product design in the past, reports that the S26 Ultra's mid-range telephoto camera will include a 3x f/2.4 lens with a 10 megapixels 1/3.94 sensor with 1.0 micrometer pixels. For perspective, this year's Galaxy S25 Ultra utilizes the Sony IMX754 in this position, a bigger 1/3.52 sensor with 1.12 micrometer pixels. Note that larger here is very much relative. This is one of the smallest tilt camera sensors that you will find on an Ultra flagship. Note that the IMX754 is technically a 12 megapixel sensor, but the lenses cover only 10 megapixels of it. The sensor for the S26 Ultra might also be a 12 megapixels unit cropped to 10 megapixels, but either way it will be smaller based on the pixel sizes. Sure, the S25 Ultra also includes a 50 megapixels IMX854 to 1/2.52, 0.7 micrometer sensor in its 5x periscope with a focal length of 111 millimeters. However, Apple's new camera is fairly close with a 48 megapixels 1/2.55 sensor, same 0.7 micrometer pixel size, and a 100 millimeters lens. Then there's the Vivo X200 Pro with a 200 megapixels 1/1.4, 0.56 micrometer sensor and an 85 millimeters lens. Of course, we should be looking at the Vivo X300 Pro tail camera, which, funnily enough, will have a custom image sensor from Samsung, ISOCELL FPB, also known as Thanos. Back to the S26 Ultra. According to ICE, there are debates taking on inside Samsung about what to do. Apparently, it is too late to swap to a 50 megapixels 4x lens for the S26 Ultra. With a 200 megapixels main and a 4x telephoto, a 3x lens with a 10 megapixel sensor would not be too useful anyway. As for the potential of employing a 200 megapixel sensor in the telephoto module, ICE is not enthusiastic, adding that Samsung won't do it because of pricing. So what's with the extra thick camera hump anyway? The main camera won't be upgraded. The ultra-wide probably won't be either. S25 Ultra introduced a brand new 50 megapixel sensor. The 3x module is getting downgraded, and the 5x module will likely have a 50 megapixel sensor. There were a few rumors about a 200 megapixel sensor, but newer leaks make it seem unlikely. There better be something really special about the new optics. One huge change that could be happening with Galaxy AI is support for additional third-party chatbots, not just Gemini and Bixby. Bloomberg says that Samsung is nearing a deal with Perplexity, which would also see Samsung invest in the company. Naturally, we think that AI will play a big role in the Galaxy S26 software, which we're guessing will arrive with a version of One UI 8. However, at this early stage, it's tough to determine what more modifications we might see from the phones. There have been a handful of Galaxy S26 battery speculations so far, and none of them can seem to agree on what to expect from the three phones in the lineup. The earliest suggested that we may see the phones come with silicon-carbon battery chemistry, which delivers far higher power density than standard lithium-ion batteries. That would effectively mean increased battery capacity without taking up more space. It could also translate to a smaller physical battery that frees up room for other things. It all depends on which manner Samsung wants everything to run. Some rumors indicate that Samsung could raise the battery capacity to somewhere between 6,000 mAh and 7,000 mAh, which would be a huge jump higher. Sadly, later speculations revealed that the Ultra model wouldn't reach 5,400 mAh. While larger than the 5,000 mAh battery in the S25 Ultra, it's not nearly the stunning boost from those earlier reports, even if it is a lot more probable. In the months since then, we've heard that the battery may not be getting any form of upgrade at all, with Ice Universe reporting that the S26 Ultra will feature the same 5000 mAh battery as prior Galaxy Ultra models. Thankfully, Ice Universe also predicts that the charging speed will eventually exceed 45 watt, subsequently suggesting it would approach 60 watt. While it's something of a meme at this point, it's about time Samsung pushed the charging rate to something that can better challenge its Chinese counterparts. However, in a subsequent post on Weibo, Ice Universe noted that the 60W charging speed might not raise the overall rate by that much. In the article, they report that the phone could only obtain 75 to 80% charge from 0% after 30 minutes. However, it could approach 90% in less formal tests, which can be quite conservative. Since the S25 series runs on the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, our expectation is that Samsung will select for the next generation Snapdragon chip for the S26, which we anticipate would be the Snapdragon 8 Elite 2. Given how strong the Elite chipset has shown itself, how much better will the Elite 2 be? One report from Digital Chat Station suggests the new chipset will be substantially more powerful, with a 4.6 GHz CPU and 1.2 GHz DPU, an increase over the 4.47 GHz CPU in the current Elite. This doesn't tell us a lot, but normally the greater the clock speed, the better the chip will be. However, there has been some speculation that Samsung could return to employing Exynos chipsets, as it did with the Z Flip 7. Sadly, Exynos chips sometimes come with poorer performance, as illustrated by a comparison of the Z Flip 7 and the Snapdragon 8 Elite-powered Motorola Razr Ultra. While it's unknown how widespread this transition would be, earlier launches have seen Samsung exclusively sell phones powered by Qualcomm CPUs in North America, with the rest of the globe getting Exynos chips instead. The fact Qualcomm's Snapdragon chips have been more commonly available the past few years is more of a blip compared to the prior pattern, purportedly due to chip shortages and difficulty manufacturing 3nm Exynos technology. Leaker Jukanosriv reports that the S26 will rely on the Exynos 2600, one generation newer than the 2500 in the Z Flip 7. Samsung likes to make a splash at the start of each new year. Its Galaxy S series flagships are some of the first off the presses, offering us a taste of new AI capabilities, fresh Snapdragon chipsets, and some of the newest, strongest materials that Corning's Gorilla Glass team has devised. And at the top of that pile lies the Galaxy S Ultra. By now, Samsung's top dog is a known quantity. The Ultra is going to be enormous, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to come with a built-in S Pen from the days of the Galaxy Note line. However, there's always a little room to hope about what else Samsung might do to flesh out those features. So let's look at just a few things I'm hoping Samsung changes for its S26 Ultra. There are no official rumors or leaks behind any of these. I'm just a guy who would like to see one of the best Android phones get even better, so let's hop to it. Please, Samsung, bring back some curves. When I evaluated Samsung's recent S25 Ultra, I walked away with mixed views. Not on the performance front. The thing was a beast thanks to its Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy CPU, but on the design front. Simply put, I couldn't find a comfortable way to hold and operate such a massive device, and making it appear and feel more like the smaller Galaxy S25 and S25 Plus wasn't working. Yes, it's wonderful that Samsung dropped the formerly sharp edges at the top and bottom of its Ultra. It realized that it didn't need a perfectly flat edge for the S Pen to slot into, but I don't like the new design. Rather than keep with the rounded sides that I'd come to appreciate on the Galaxy S23 Ultra and S24 Ultra, Samsung shifted to a flat, iPhone-like frame, and it felt like it dug into my palms the entire time I evaluated the phone. So for the Galaxy S26 Ultra, let's make curvy cool again. Samsung rounder frames are so much more comfortable to grip than its crisp, flat ones, to the point that I'd happily go back to something like the S23 again simply because I enjoyed carrying it about. Switching to a rounded frame would make the S26 Ultra a bit more distinctive too, now that rivals like Google and Nothing have adopted flat frames. While most of my wishlist has been things I may aspire for from the next S26 Ultra, this following point could be the most important. Samsung needs to make the S Pen good again. if it's going to preserve the stylus that won over so many productivity enthusiasts on the Galaxy Note series, it can't pare its features back to little more than the stylus on Motorola's far more affordable Moto G stylus, which is basically what Samsung did with the S25 Ultra. More specifically, the Galaxy S24 Ultra's S Pen used a Bluetooth LE connection to stay paired with your phone, and it included ingenious features like Air Actions, which you could conduct a few inches away from your screen. And it also served as a remote camera shutter for taking group selfies. Now, both of those comforts are in the past. Instead, the S Pen is, well, simply a pen, and a very costly one at that. Right now, the S Pen is just kind of a pen. To make me happier with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, all Samsung has to do is undo what feels like a pretty dumb decision in the first place. It just has to bring back the old S Pen and give it the functionality fans adore. Maybe Microsoft cut off some of the capability from its pen because not enough people were using it, but at that rate, it nearly makes more sense to delete the stylus altogether. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more tech news and updates.